Hey you guys, my name is Carrie and welcome to my table of three, where I share recipes, tips, and new products that my family is using to help us get healthier. Today I am thrilled to be a part of the Cast Iron Challenge that is being hosted by Cynthia at Our Big's Adventure and Ingrid over at Ingrid Chronicles. I will link to both of their channels below in my description, as well as a link to the playlist where you can check out all the other amazing vloggers that have put recipes in this challenge. So I don't know about you, but I'm super excited to watch all of them. I got my coffee ready here, but let's jump in the kitchen over there so I can share my creamy caramelized onion dip with you, made in one of my cast iron skillets. Maybe I'll use a couple, we'll see, but stick around to find out that recipe. And you can also find the full recipe link to my blog below in the descriptions. So if you don't catch measurements, don't worry about it. Click on that blog link, send you over there, and you'll have everything you need to make this dip. Thanks for stopping by. Let's get cooking. Alright, so here is a quick look at the ingredients that we're going to use to make this quick and creamy caramelized onion dip. So we just have some sour cream and butter, olive oil, balsamic vinegar, black pepper, 2 onions, of course, to be the star, a block of cream cheese. You can use sugar. I'm using a sugar alternative. I'm going to use garlic today instead of garlic powder, and then the butter and oil is just going to go in my cast iron skillet for when I caramelize the onions that I cut up. So one thing to note, and I said it before, this recipe is a new one on my blog. I serve it chilled a lot of times, but today we're going to bring in this Parmesan cheese because we're going to serve it hot, and we're going to bake and serve it in this adorable little cast iron skillet. Can you see? Isn't that super cute? I love this little thing. So to make it ooey and gooey, we're going to add some Parmesan cheese. I'm going to grate some of this later and mix a little bit in and sprinkle it on top. That way you don't kind of get melted and gooey in the dip when we have it. So let me get these onions cut up and we'll get on the way. Alright guys, I got my skillet, my cast iron skillet hot. If you put some butter and olive oil in here. If you need exact measurements, I have put that recipe link in the bottom of this video description. So the next thing I'm going to do is add our onions, because what we're going to do now is caramelize these onions. If you've never had caramelized onions, oh my word you guys, you are missing out. They are fabulous. They are so delicious and so, they're just out of this world good. Caramelizing the onions brings a natural sweetness out, and the butter and olive oil, it also gives a good flavor. It's just going to take this dip to the next level. Of course you can just do onion dip if you'd like to, but come on, caramelized onion dip, yeah, please. So I just sliced those up really thin, and you just want to break them up so they look like this into little pieces. Now this may look like a lot of onions for that little cast iron pan right there that we're going to use for the dip, but I did cook a little bit extra. Basically I use larger onions because I need some for our lunch later today. So I'm just doing them all at once. So do have again the recipe in the description. It tells you what size in grams and to use for your onions, but these are going to cook down a lot. So important factor when you're caramelizing onions is that you need oil or fat in here. If you do just butter, it may burn over time because you are going to cook these for probably, oh, I don't know, maybe 40-45 minutes depending on how they go and how thin you get them. But there are a few things that you want to put on there, like salt. For number one, we're going to salt it. Again, I'm not going to measure because I just don't cook that way, but I do put the measurements in the recipe. The salt is important because it's also going to help draw the water out of these onions as they caramelize. A black pepper calls for 1/4 teaspoon in the recipe, but I'm just shaking it in. You can omit it if you'd like. And I'm going to do a little bit of my sugar alternative. You could use allulose, you could use pure. If you're Cream Healthy Mama, you can use gentle sweet or super sweet. You don't need a lot, just a teeny bit. Because like I said, the onions are all going to be sweet already. But don't worry about them being too sweet because it's kind of like an onion jam. So they're going to be sweet. They're meant to be sweet, but your balsamic vinegar later will help balance that out. So I'm just going to stir this around and let this go probably on a medium heat. And I'm not going to sit here and let you watch or make you watch all of these, but I'll come back in a little bit and show you maybe a midway point and then go from there. So we're going to let those caramelize away in this cast iron skillet. Be back in a few. Okay, so it's going to check back in. It's been about 12, actually about 10 or 12 minutes, yeah. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You can see where they are starting to get brown. See how pretty that is? I don't know if you guys have ever heard some of the Food Network chefs. I think Amber says brown food tastes good. Well, that is so true in this case. But I had to turn my heat down from a medium high, which was about a 7 on mine, to about a 4 or a 5, because you don't want these to burn or get black. You just want them to be nice and brown. These are still not ready. They probably have another, I'd say 15-20 minutes to go, but I'll come back in a few minutes and show you more of what they look like then. Alrighty then, just like magic, about 30 minutes in, these onions are done. Just look how amazingly brown and delicious they look. You see that? Okay, so I have turned the heat off, and then we're going to move over to our bowl over here. Remember, I said not all of these onions will go in because I made a little bit extra for some of my family's lunch today. They're great on salads, low-carb wraps, sandwiches, even pizzas. They are amazing. So I'm just going to show you what it's like to put the dip together. So let me get everything ready over here. Let's see if I can just move you guys in. I have the cream cheese, 8 ounces of cream cheese already in the bowl. This was very soft. I left it out on the counter overnight to get it ready, and yes, that's totally safe. Okay, so we got that. I'm going to go ahead now and add in some of the onions so it will soften the cream cheese even more. Yeah, you want a good bit of onions because after all, this is what? An onion dip, and we're actually going to put in some even more onion, which I'm going to use a few onion flakes here. You don't have to, but if you're going for an onion dip, why not pack the flavor of onions in, right? And that's just some minced onion, some dry onion. Stir that up. Now, if you were going to do the dip cold, which is the way I like it as well, it's the way it's written on the blog in the recipe card. So if you see the recipe card when you go to the blog post that I link below, it's going to be for a chilled onion dip. I'm going to show you today how to do this warm. So you just follow the same instructions, caramelizing the onions, getting the sour cream and the cream cheese together. And only thing we're going to do is we're going to add the onions into the sour cream and cream cheese hot. If you're going to do a chill dip, I would remove your onions off the stove and let them cool completely, and then mix them in and then refrigerate it after you've got it dipped, and let it chill for at least an hour. Did I get that on my camera? Nope, but it's all over my face. I'm not going to show you because I don't feel like doing the kind of whole dip in your face kind of thing. So there you have it there. At this point you can taste it for seasoning if you like to, which I'm going to really quick. Because I added some garlic earlier when I was off camera, sorry, but it's in the recipe again. Going pretty good. I think I'm going to add just a touch more pepper. And you guys, recipes are made to be adjusted to your liking, so make it to your liking. If you need more salt, add more salt. Now keep in mind that in the hot recipe, we are about to add some cheese, which is not in the cold. So the cheese will have some salt because I am using a Parmesan block. I like to shred my own. You can use the can if you want to. There's no shame in my game. I do have some of the grated, I think is what they call that, right? I don't want to get it out now, but I do have it. But I'm going to add fresh today because it's going to make it melty. So I'm going to add half of it to the mixture. You can add more if you'd like to. You can also double this if you have a large batch, but there's only 3 of us, and so this will last us a good while. We had this for New Year's Eve, I think, and I really liked it. So now I'm adding some balsamic vinegar. Remember, I told you earlier that the sweetness in the onion is wonderful, and that would be balanced from this. I got this from Aldi, so really easy to find. Walmart has it as well. And now, if you don't have balsamic vinegar, you could totally use Worcestershire sauce. And if I said that wrong, that's normal. I say a lot of things wrong, especially with my accent. If y'all have been around very long, you probably heard that. But this balsamic vinegar is going to balance out the sweetness. But use Worcestershire sauce if you don't like balsamic, or if you don't have it, by all means, don't run out and buy it. If it's not something that you're going to use in your pantry. I'm all about using what you have. So if you want to do, if you don't want to add Parmesan, or if you don't want to buy that as well, like I said, you could use the grated in the green can, or you could use this. This runs about $4.98 at Walmart. So if it's not in your budget, then I totally understand. There's sometimes when it's not in my budget. I just happen to grab this for a few recipes I have coming up, and so I used it today. You could totally use some shredded Monterey Jack. You could use shredded mozzarella. You could use shredded cheddar if you'd like to. Or you could leave the extra cheese out and still heat it up. So we have that. I'm going to go ahead and give it another taste. Let me grab another spoon. Because it's all about fitting it to your taste, right? Oh yeah, that's good. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more of the onions to it, because we like a lot. Okay, sorry about that. My camera stopped. I had to recharge it, but all I did was finish stirring in that last little bit, and this is ready to go. So we're going to put that. You can use any baking dish you'd like if you want to heat it. I'm going to use, again, like this little cute cast iron skillet, because I think it's so adorable when you cook it in this and you put it in your on your table to serve it. I think it's just so cute. Alright, so I am just going to put all this dip in here, and you can see it all fits pretty good. I'm going to get just a little bit off there. My 13-year-old is hoping some will be left on the spoon. He is ready to eat this. I told him he had to wait until after we cook it and show you guys before he can eat. But so just put it even. I would say you need a baking dish. Probably enough to hold 2 cups, if not more. 2 cups just to give you enough so it doesn't boil over. I'm just going to clean up the edges really quick. Okay, and I saved a little bit aside of these onions just to place in the middle, and I'm just going to put those right in the middle. And then I'm going to use the rest of the grated Parmesan to sprinkle around the top. And again, remember, you can use any kind of cheese, or okay, it was about a half a cup of shredded Parmesan that I used. So sorry about that noise. Is my alright guys, so there you have it. And this is going to go in a 350-degree oven, and it's just going to cook until it's hot through, probably about 20-25 minutes, but I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out. Okay, so there we go. I just took it out of the oven. It cooked on 350 for about, I would say 30 minutes. The onions on top look like they're a lot darker than they really are in real life, but it is warm and gooey, and it would be perfect with any kind of chip, toasted bread, fresh veggies like celery and carrots and things like that, I would put stuff around this board. Excuse me. And people could just pick what they wanted and put some tongs out, and then they could scoop it out and put it. Just warn them that this is very hot if it doesn't have a chance to cool off, because it is hot. So there we go. My creamy caramelized onion dip baked in a little cast iron skillet.